Welcome to Beer, a skydiving podcast. This is our very first episode, the inaugural episode. My name is Brian McCauley. I'm one of the hosts of this podcast, and we have Joe over here. Joe, you want to introduce yourself just real quick?
Rouse. My name's Joe Rouse. Skydiving for, I don't know, a long time. So,
Way longer than me.
I'm not an expert in anything we speak about. Whatever answers to questions, you practice at your own risk.
You're just getting that way right at the beginning, right? Just be like, I'm not responsible for anything that I say on here, right?
I'm not an expert skydiver or an expert base jumper, but I am very experienced. Moderately experienced.
All right, right on. So, yeah, I guess, obviously the name of this podcast is Beer, a skydiving podcast. And, you being a pretty experienced skydiver, base jumper, and me being not nearly as experienced at all, pretty much at every drop zone I've ever been to and every drop zone that I'm familiar with, every time a new skydiver, or I guess really any skydiver has a first solo jump, first pack job, first stand-up landing, whatever, beer, you owe beer, right?
200, 500, 1,000.
Yeah, all the double zeros. And the idea of, buying beer for the drop zone is so that newer skydiver has the opportunity to sit and talk with some more experienced people, ask some questions, listen to conversations, things like that. And that was kind of the idea behind this show, right? Me being a new guy, you being a more experienced guy. We'll have some of those conversations.
Yeah, I'll give you the best answer I can give you. I don't know if it'll be right, but it'll be answers based on my own experiences. And if it's skydiving related, USPA regulations and procedures.
Well, I can attest that you are very much up on all of that literature and that knowledge, just from the short time that I've known you, and how you've helped me out with my skydiving. You are knowledgeable with what the sim says for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of a nerd. I kind of nerd out on teaching people what I'm nerdy about. Skydiving is one of them. Base jumping is another one. I've actually recently, kind of off topic, started doing lock sport picking. It's pretty fun.
Picking locks?
Yep, picking locks. It's pretty fun.
Like a timed event type thing?
No, it's just sort of progressive picking. Like, start off with a simple lock, and then you move your way up to, more security, security pins, extra mechanisms, etc. Calms the
like the pins and barrels and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calms the ADHD down.
Man of many talents, I suppose, then.
Yeah. I like to shoot. So,
yeah.
I like guns, shooting. I'd say I'm a jack of all trades when it comes to hobbies and professional careers.
Well, let's try to keep it skydiving focused. I don't know if you're gonna be out there jumping with guns or anything.
No,
I suppose we could.
Although that has happened at Skydive PA.
What do you got to tell me the story? What do you mean?
There was one of the old AFF instructors, first jump course teachers. I'm not going to name her name, but she used to jump with her concealed carry on her every jump. That was
no way.
Oh yeah, that was. I started in 2012, and that was probably 2013ish when I heard that's what she did. That way she landed off, and nobody gave her any shit.
Oh, yeah. All right. That makes more sense now. Yeah. Especially probably, being female and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. All right. Okay. So I guess you've already kind of introduced yourself a little bit, but do you want to go into a little bit more about, when you started skydiving and base jumping? How many jumps do you have? Like what ratings do you have? Things like that.
Yeah, I actually made my very first skydive at Z Hills in 2000.
That's in Florida, right?
Yeah, Zephyr Hills. I'm trying to hunt up the video of it, so hopefully we can share it in the podcast. But I got to get it formatted or from VHS to digital somehow. 'Cause when I
Legacy
got it,
box.
yeah, it's a long one, an old one. But so yeah, I made my first tandem in 2000. I loved it then. Came back, Skydive PA. Jeff Reckert owned it and ran it at the time. I made four AFF jumps then, and I was just a young, poor, just beginning working class boy, so I couldn't afford it.
20-something-year-old.
Yeah, I was 20. I think I was 21, maybe. Not even. I don't even think I was old enough to drink. But so I didn't jump for quite a while, and then 2011, 2012 came around, and decided to do another tandem, and the bug bit me, and that I just went head first. So I got about almost 800 skydives, which really isn't that many. The majority of those are probably wingsuit and or AFFI jumps. There's a little bit of free flying in there. And then base jumping, I have just shy of 100 base jumps. And hopefully before the end of the year, I'll have my base number. So
You have all
yeah,
four?
hopefully, yeah. I
Which
got
one are
the
you missing?
Earth and building. So I have span and antenna. I need building and Earth. So
Okay.
I know I'll get
All right.
both of those in uh, Brazil. The hotel we're staying at is jumpable, and I have a suite at the top floor. So
so, so you're prepared. You're
oh,
already making plans.
yeah,
Like you
we'll
you
get
top
we'll
floor
get to
room.
be
You're
there, if
doing
not
it.
before, and then we'll definitely get to eat. That's what I'm going for. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
ratings obviously with AFFI comes a coach rating. I got my coach rating at 100 jumps. And looking back, I don't think I had any business being a coach. I could barely fly myself.
Yeah.
But I liked it so much that I just jumped my ass off, and I had my AFFI the first time around, spring of 2014. So
So like 2 years later.
like year and a half,
Okay.
2 years later, yeah, which is it's decent. It's pretty fast. I'd have to look. It
Yeah,
was
I'd say so.
2013 or 2014, but I know it was like shortly after I got my license, and I think I got my license February of 2013. I took uh, I took 2 weeks vacation, rented a minivan, enrolled at AFF in Skydive to land, and just slept in the parking lot for 2.5 weeks until I got through AFF, got enough jumps, got my A license, and then walked across the street to Shooting Star and bought my new rig, first rig. Yeah. So, yeah.
So you bought a brand new rig?
I bought basically, yeah. The only thing I used on my first rig was the reserve. It had like one
Okay.
ride on it. Yeah, but everything else is
Yeah.
brand new. Yep.
Wow. Wow. Living the dream.
It was fun, man. It was a really good time. Just not knowing anybody. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
just going out on the limb and
So
going for it.
you said you have about 800 jumps, and most of them are AFFI or wingsuit jumps.
Yeah,
That
wings. Yep.
so when you hit 200 jumps, did you just start flying a wingsuit? Is that
Yep.
how you have the
Yep.
majority of
And
them?
honestly, that's how I got my AFFI rating so quick, because you also have to have a total hours of free fall. A required amount of free fall time, and that counts. So
So the extended flight time in a
correct.
wingsuit counts for as free
Yeah,
fall. Okay.
yeah. I don't know.
All
You
right.
know, don't quote me on that today, but it did then. So
You're grandfathered in either way, huh?
yeah, yeah, I got it now. So, but yeah, I think most of them AFFI or doing AFF jumps, wingsuit jumps. I honestly don't know how many wingsuit jumps I have. I have to go back through my logbook, but I just started back skydiving last year when I met you.
Yeah.
Last July, I had taken about a 6 or 7 year hiatus. I think my AFFI rating expired in 2018, so that's 6 years. I think I made one fun jump.
6 years ago.
Yeah, I made one fun jump in 2018, and then that was it. So, yeah,
Dude,
last
I
year was
couldn't imagine not jumping. Like, what caused the hiatus, if you don't mind
now
me
I
asking?
can't. Now I can't imagine that. Getting married, man. Married, kids, bought a house,
Yeah.
all that
Okay.
stuff. Yeah,
Enough said. Yep. That's all. That's all you gotta say.
yeah. So then with that,
Yeah.
I sold everything, but I sold it all to friends. So some of it's still being jumped. If any of you are listening, know who ATK is, Andy Kenny. I sold him my infinity rig. That's my only claim to fame because Andy Kenny has medaled multiple times in the USPA Nationals for wingsuit. And I see
He
my old rig and I'm like, oh man.
he
Yeah,
did this year as well, right?
yeah. I think he got
Third.
bronze overall.
Third.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very good, man. We started wingsuiting right around the same time, and then obviously he kept with it when I, you know, took my hiatus. So, but yeah, then I was off for about 6 or 7 years, and then jumped back last July, and then as you can see behind me, I went all out again.
Yeah. I see
I
some.
got,
I see a couple rigs
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. We got two skydive rigs, base rig. I'd like to get a second base rig, ATC 4 wingsuit, 2-piece tracking seat, power 2-piece, my Phoenix Fly, and then a couple jumpsuits. But good stuff. So
I'll kit it
there I
up.
am. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I
So
will tell you, this was also much harder to get my AFFI rating the second time than it was the first time.
why?
Man, I don't know. It was just much harder, tougher instructors maybe, uh, more
Had the
criteria.
requirements changed or something?
I'm not necessarily sure if the requirements. It's still a pass as a scoring system. Before it was just a pass or no pass, sat or unsat, and now it's a scoring system, and you have to score so many points, and you get so many points for so many maneuvers that you do while you're taking your student on their,
Yeah.
Cat C2, Cat D1 jumps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I would probably like to get into. I don't think I can ever be a TI, just because of the medical certificate requirement.
Yeah.
But I'd eventually I'm coming up on being able to get a coach rating. But like you said, I don't know if at 100 jumps that's really a smart idea. Um,
Uh,
but
well, I
then
mean, it might not be bad because then you kind of realize you realize in yourself what you're lacking to, when you're trying to teach somebody that's new as
I
you're
couldn't imagine
sort of a
myself
newer
teaching
skydiver.
somebody.
Huh?
I couldn't imagine myself teaching anybody anything yet.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
but then I think I'd also really like to camera fly, like at some point. I think that
well,
would be a lot of fun.
yep, I was a camera flyer for a while. Um, I had the old bonehead. My streaming camera is the camera I used for photos, and then I had a Sony hand cam. That was sort of the standard setup for
So
camera flyers
you,
then with
you
the
had the
big bone.
whole thing up
Yeah,
there,
the
huh?
big bonehead composite helmet with an eyepiece, a lens, and a bite switch, and all that good stuff.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pe-
camera
That
jacket.
the is that with like the little wings in the armpit?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that a
I'd
camera
like to
jacket?
get another
Yeah.
one of those to shoot some outside video stuff. Um, I fall much faster now than I used to. I was 165 pounds when I first started jumping, and now I'm 205,
Dude,
209.
You don't got to talk to me about getting old and gaining weight. That happens pretty easy.
Yeah.
I guess we should say, I don't know if we'll do this every episode, but it is beer, a skydiving
Oh yeah.
podcast. So
Yeah. Nope, I got my stuff.
I do
Drink.
have a drink. I did go with beer, and I didn't want to buy a whole 6-pack, so
You bought
I
a
went
pounder?
I went super redneck and got a single from the gas station.
I got a margarita in a Halloween glass.
Nice. I like margaritas. Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't think you have salt on your rim though. You gotta have salt.
Yeah. I gotta get your electrolytes. But
So you mentioned that we met last year, and that's because I started jumping last year,
mhm.
in May. So I got my A license last year. I think I ended up with around 32 or 36 jumps or something like that, and then finished off this season. Well, finished off. We're still kind of working
Oh
on it,
yeah.
but pretty close to the end of it. With almost 100, I have 91 jumps, so I really want to hit
Ah,
100
okay. Gotcha.
by
So
the
you need
end of
nine
the.
more. Ah, you got it.
Yeah,
You'll get it.
yeah. I think I will too.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, I'm pretty new. I mean, I definitely can't say that I'm experienced. You know what I mean? You were instrumental in helping me get my B license this year. You did the canopy
hmm
course and the water training, which was awesome. So thank you
Yeah, man.
for
That's what I like
helping
to
me
do.
out with that stuff.
Yeah.
And you were also instrumental in helping me pick a rig to buy. So I bought my rig, earlier, I guess late winter, early spring, and that's really when we kind of started talking. Was when I was
hmm
trying to buy that rig, and
Yeah.
I probably asked you a million questions.
It's all
Uh,
good, man. I like answer them. It's all the stuff. It's all the same stuff that I asked. All the people that were more experienced than me when I first started jumping too. I'm sure eventually we'll get people on here that are way more experienced than me. But that's just, you know, to me, that's just what you do. I had a lot
yeah,
of
you help
people
out.
help me that were willing to, that were outgoing and answer all my questions. And, I sucked as much knowledge as I could from them. And so just being a teacher, though, I love people ask me questions like, hey, what should I get? You know, and, well, what do you want to do? you know,
Right,
but
right.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't think, I know you mentioned you don't sure if you want to be a TI. I used to want to be a TI because you never get that first jump back ever.
right.
That first experience, and that's what drove me the first time to want to become a TI. But the more experience I got, it's just now I'm
It's
old.
too much like work.
Yeah, and now I'm old. I'm 43 and I have arthritis and
Ugh.
a freshly healed broken heel and half a meniscus missing.
Yeah,
so,
so I was actually thinking about that today. That's an episode that we should do. We should talk about injuries
oh
at
yeah.
some point. Just do an episode on injuries. We've both yours obviously worse than mine, but we've both injured ourselves, and then we know a couple people who've
hmm
really injured themselves that we could
Oh
probably
yeah.
have on to talk about, and I think that would be interesting. And sort of like how do you maintain motivation and things like that when you're
So
laid
it's
up and
your
you
brain.
can't.
It's your brain,
Yeah.
man. You can't let your brain mind fuck you because it will.
No. Yeah, it does. It does often. So last year was not actually the first time that I've jumped. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh no, but now I think you told me you did some tandem, right?
Yeah, so when my wife and I got married, we went whitewater rafting and we did a tandem. And that was in 2020. 2020, whenever, yeah. We got married in 2020. I don't know when we went jumping. It may have been 2021. We got married in 2020. Um, but I also jumped in the Army. I went to airborne school in the Army. So
Okay, I was gonna guess that. Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna guess airborne.
I did 5 jumps at airborne school. I never did any combat jumps or anything like that, but that was 23 years ago, I guess, is
Yeah,
when I did that.
my uncles, both
Um,
my uncles are actually career military retired, and my uncle Matt went to Airborne. That's how he
Then
had.
at Fort Benning.
I'm not sure where he did it at, but he was
Yeah, he
career.
did it at Fort Benning.
Yeah, he. I
Yeah.
think he ended up blowing out his knee at one point. So, one of the great consequences that could happen
Yeah.
jumping out of planes.
So I think looking forward with the show, obviously, I think we agree we want to have like an educational aspect to it, right? We'll
Yeah,
do
we can
some
get into it
interviews
a
going
little bit too,
forward,
but yeah,
or
yeah, definitely.
maybe try to have people call in with questions. I think that would be a lot of fun. Because I mean, the skydiving community, they're like everybody's awesome. You know what I mean? So if and we already know so many people be like, hey, do you have a question you want to ask on the podcast? Like, who wouldn't want to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like have a call in type situation, or I guess
yeah.
just
Sort of
again, being
chat.
the first episode, we don't really know what we're gonna do yet, but
We don't know what we're doing yet,
just kind
but
of spitballing some ideas.
this is my first podcasting experience. So leaning on
Well,
you
this is
to steer the boat on this portion of it.
this is my first with a video, so I don't know. We'll see. I
Oh,
did have a podcast before, but
what was your
I've never
podcast
done it
about
with a
before?
video. Woodworking.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that. Yeah, Norm Abram style, huh?
Not quite. Didn't Brad nail things together, but
No.
yeah, he was pretty well known for doing that. But no, it was actually I don't even think you can find it anymore. But it was called The Dusty Life. It was myself and two other guys, and we did it for a couple of years. Um, Pretty successful. People
Nice.
liked it. It was fun.
Talk about the old Yankee workshop.
Sometimes we did.
Yeah.
Mostly we talked about what we were working on and tips and
Yeah.
techniques and stuff like that. But yeah,
I
but
actually
yeah, it
still
was
have
fun.
in my dining room. I have an old corner cabinet that I made in high school in woodshop class.
High school wood shop.
Oh yeah, man, it looks good. It still hangs in that. It's still hanging up now. I mean, I hung it up when I moved in.
That was a hell of a
It was
project in
up
high
there.
schou A corner cabinet.
Oh yeah, man, I learned how to. It was. I don't know how I did it. It's nice. It fits right in the corner. It's got all this nice routing and stuff that
Yeah.
I had to make edging, molding, and stuff for it. It was pretty involved.
So I don't anymore, but I had a very well equipped professional wood shop. I sold the majority of my large tools to buy my rig.
Oh, nice.
I I haven't been out in the wood shop. I haven't. I've made everything I need for my house. People. I used to do commission work when I lived in DC, but people around here don't want to pay anything for
Oh
anything.
no,
So
no.
uh,
I used to. Yeah, I understand
it
that.
it
Yeah,
just it just sat in my shop, and I needed to buy a rig, so I found somebody who wanted to buy it.
yeah. I know. I know what that's like because when I first started jumping, I used to be into target shooting and had a plethora of various caliber weapons and sold pretty much all of them for skydiving. So I could buy
Dude,
extra rigs, all kinds of stuff.
I I loved the uh, on the Olympics. What was he? Turkish?
All the shooting, the shoot,
The
yeah,
shooter with like
yeah,
zero gear. I love that guy. Like that.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you're gonna shoot, you don't need all that crap. Just
He just
shoot.
rolls up, man. That's
Yep. Just that's all you need. That's all you
it.
need. You don't need all that fancy stuff.
Yeah,
I
people
love
are
that
trying
guy.
to say that's the first time he's ever done it. I'm like, no, it's not. I promise you,
Not at all.
not the first time.
No.
Yeah,
No.
he was a major meme for a while,
Yeah.
but
So, um, I think we've probably gone through like introductions and all that kind of stuff, and we did kind of mention that the season is starting to wrap up. Like it
roll to
is
there. Yeah.
October now. Um, what's your plan for the winter? Like, what are you gonna do? I mean, I know we were jumping at Waynesburg last winter, but I don't know if that's gonna be an option this year. So,
No,
do you
I'm
have
going
any
to throw that
thoughts?
out there. Yeah, that. What am I gonna do? Probably base jump. I'm taking a trip to Brazil in December with the Bobs, based with the Bobs, doing a Brazil trip. Just learning how to do some big wall base, big wall tracking. I'm not confident enough to take my wingsuit yet. I only have a handful of jumps on my newest wingsuit. Uh, so
So you're gonna wear a tracking suit?
yeah, I got the two-piece tracking suit. I feel like it's a little more forgivable exit wise than a wingsuit
Hmm.
is. Um, I will tell you, it's much harder to learn for me, at least my personal experience. It's much harder to learn how to fly a two-piece tracking suit than it is a wingsuit. Um, just
Why
because
is that?
the two-piece tracking suit, it's like the name of it's a two-piece. So one piece flies independently of the other, and if you got something off, then you're not really flying real well, you're not tracking real well.
Sure.
So wingsuit, it's one piece. You can practically lay in it in the newer wingsuits, and it'll fly you, but you don't want to do that. But yeah, base wise, I think I'll take the right path and track first.
Right on.
I used to
Yeah.
have that mentality of go go go. But
Well,
I originally
we're.
focused. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say we're older now, and we realize that we break.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've definitely. I'll tell you what. I've had the hiatus that I did have, because I will say that I was much more overconfident. When I first started skydiving the second time in 2012, 2013, and realized you know, you don't know everything, dude. You might think you know everything or think you're capable of everything, but you're not. Like,
right.
I've learned as I've matured is to, talk to your peers, learn from professionals, take coaching from experts, be humble, fly under your ability, be conservative, fly under your ability. And I think that goes with anything, if you're not, if you haven't been on a 50-way big way before and you've only been in four ways, chances are maybe you should start with a, 8 or 10-way next or something.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I learned that lesson with snowboarding and skateboarding. So I used to be a toot my own horn, but pretty awesome skateboarder and snowboarder. I was sponsored, man. Like I could do it. Um, but then it's sort of same idea. Got married, had kids, and things like that, and didn't skate or snowboard for a while until my kids got old enough to want to go snowboarding and kind of show an interest in skateboarding and stuff. And then all of a sudden, 8, 9 years later, I realized, oh wait, I'm not invincible anymore. Uh,
things hurt.
this, yeah, this can hurt real bad if I mess up, and that was not how I felt. When I was younger, I was like, yeah,
Mm,
send it, man, let's just go.
yeah.
So coming into skydiving as I don't want to say older person, but I guess I was 40 when I started. Uh, I've had that mentality that, you know, I, that we could play it safe. We don't need to go
Yeah.
balls to the wall. Let's play
Progression
it
is a
safe
good
and
thing.
yeah,
Progression and conservatism, and uh, just flying, under your what you think your max ability is a good idea.
yeah. Speaking of wingsuiting, have I ever told you how I got back? Well, I say back into skydiving, but really the only jumping that I did was those 5 jumps in the army. But did I ever tell you the story about how I got into it?
No.
Well, like I said, last year I was 40, and I was talking to my wife. We were talking about bucket list things, and I said, I've always wanted to fly a wingsuit. I've jumped out of a plane. It was a long time ago, but like, I've always wanted to fly a wingsuit, and didn't know anything about the requirements or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that would have been March of last year or February of last year. And in March for my birthday, she essentially bought me my A license. Like she
Ooh,
bought gift certificates to Skydive Pennsylvania in the amount that it would take to go through AFF
yeah,
and essentially get to 25 jumps, and she bought me my A license
sweet.
so that I could get those 200 jumps so I could put on a wingsuit.
Yeah, yeah. I remember my first wingsuit jump course. It was fun. It's a little nerve wracking, but
I can imagine.
yeah, jumping a wingsuit for the first time last year since 2017 or 18. I was nervous.
Well,
Uh,
the exit seems so strange. Like you got to be all together, like feet and arms together, and then get away from the plane and then spread out, right? Like I
yeah,
feel
it depends
like,
what aircraft you're jumping out of too. You know, what sort of jump plane. King Air is probably one of the toughest.
well, I was
Uh,
gonna say you've got that prop blast right out the door.
yeah,
Like
and it's fast, and if you hop up, you could possibly get a tail strike.
hit the
The
tail.
the door's real small.
Yeah,
Yes,
and the tail on the King Air is so
everything I've
close.
jumped out of, at least I've jumped out of, a Skyvan, a Pack, Otter, um, caravans, a bunch, and in the wingsuit. And I think even the Cessna is easier than the King Air.
Like the 206 or the
Yeah.
182.
Whichever one's got the step, the 206, I think, right?
Well, the 206 has the roll up door. The 182 has
Yeah,
the
no, so the 182, yeah, it's got the step, yeah, because you can climb right
okay.
out on the step and hold on to the strut. You just keep
Yeah.
your wings closed, and super easy to exit.
See, I would think as soon as you get outside and that thing starts catching air, that it'd be almost impossible to keep it closed.
Nah, you'll see as you start jumping and jumping at other drop zones. Like this weekend is wingsuit weekend out at Cleveland Skydiving Center, which I wanted to go to, but I'm not going to be able to again this year. But they'll do, people do multi-ways where there's, a couple floaters in a wingsuit. Just got to keep your wings closed off.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, people do it, so there's obviously a way to do it. I
Yeah,
just don't know how to do it.
yeah. You will. Yeah, one of the reasons I got back into jumping in the early teens was wingsuit base, man. That's what I wanted to do. That's still my ultimate goal now, but then that was like I want to get there as soon as possible.
That
And that era,
we share the same goal.
yeah, that era of 2013 to 2016 ish in the wingsuit base community was a wild one. And when I came back to skydiving, I kind of thought back to those days, and I was like, you know what? Kind of glad I got out, stopped jumping when I did, because now I take progression a little bit more serious. You know?
Well, and things progressed really fast during that time too. Like
Oh
looking
yeah.
back and doing some reading, like there were major steps. Like wingsuits
Oh yeah.
changed like all the time. Like there was
Yep.
technology changes, and people were just uh, opening exit points that left and right. There's just new
Yep.
stuff all the time.
Yep. Yoke Summer is what captivated me. Yeah, he had those Dreamline videos. Dreamlines 3 was my favorite. I'm like that. I want to do that, and then realize now knowing what I know now, knowing what those Dreamlines are, it's pretty hardcore, man. Like you gotta have a lot of experience and have your shit together to
Yeah.
do like a Dreamline or something like that. Like the stuff that the late Chris Burns was doing a couple of years ago. He's obviously passed. Is just mind blowing. I mean, if you get a chance, look up Chris Burns Dreamlines.
Chris
He,
Burns, Dreamlines. All right.
yeah,
I have not heard of Chris
and he was
Burns,
the
so
wingsuit base jumper that took it, obviously, to the extreme. Uh,
right.
but his exit count was 3, 2, 1 Dream
Nice.
because he's such a fan of Yoke. But yeah, So I take progression now. I'm much more serious than I did then. You know,
So what do you think
I
of
feel
like a Jeb Corliss? Like he's pretty famous in the wingsuit base
yeah,
jumping world.
yeah.
Is he more
I'm
of just
thinking.
like a, do you think like
I'm
a
thinking
figurehead,
Emmanuel.
or
What's that?
do you think he's more of just like the famous well-known guy, or do you think
Um,
he, like, I mean, obviously he's
he's
sending it off of
skilled.
some crazy
Yeah, I mean,
stuff,
he's
but
skilled. Yeah, he's been base jumping a really long time. He started, I think, with aerials, like cliffs of buildings. You know, being known for aerials, gainers. You know, how many could he do, etc. I'm not sure. I don't know his whole history, but I know he was a pretty big wingsuiter when I got into it. I rode up, I got to ride up the plane with some of those guys out in Paris. And for me at the time,
oh yeah.
at the time, me as a new wingsuiter, I was like, oh man, there's Jeb, there's Roberta, there's, you know, a bunch of wingsuit, pilots. That,
All right, cool,
um,
man.
but
That's what I really like about this community, and obviously I haven't experienced it the way that you have, but it seems like everybody is very approachable. Like
I think
if
make yourself approachable. Everybody is approachable, right? I don't think anybody likes someone that tells you that, hey, I think you're underestimating my, skills. You're underestimating my abilities. If you come in at it humble and ask questions, and almost any very experienced teacher will, you know, be willing to give you information and teach you. You know, they know the people that they, you know, want to give advice to and who they don't. You know, I think
well, yeah, sure.
probably in the short time that you've jumped in a couple places, I'm sure you've seen somebody that you're like, boy, we'll leave it
Well,
there.
yeah, you learn pretty quickly who you should talk to and who you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's the opposite side of the fence. You're talking about people giving advice, but at the same
Yeah,
time
you
you
also got to be
do.
careful about who you take advice from too, right? As a new
Yeah,
jumper,
exactly.
especially if you get into base,
Yeah.
you can get somebody that gives you some, bad information or teaches you something that the USP or the USPA or, you know, something in rigging that's changed that they're not aware of, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, I always encourage you to talk to people who are quote unquote experts and have the most experience in all those fields.
Speaking of the USPA, I mean, obviously this episode is going to come out after elections are over, but
Mhm.
hopefully everybody listening to this has cast their vote for whoever they feel most appropriate for the positions that are, you know, their
Up for
elections being held for. Yeah. This is the first year that I guess, really cared or
yeah.
looked into it. I could have voted last year if they had elections. I don't even know. Did they do it
If you're
every
a
year?
USPA member, you can vote.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they do elections every year, or is it?
I don't remember. It's ever so many years. I don't think it's every year. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
so maybe they didn't do it last year. Maybe that's why I don't
Yeah.
don't remember it. But
I think they do maybe regional stuff. I'm not an expert on the USPA
hmm,
board and their policies, procedures, and election processes. But I will say that the second time around skydiving, I've paid a lot more attention to that stuff. You know,
yeah, yeah,
as a newer jumper, you know, in the early teens, I kind of just got my membership and that was it. I did what I needed to do to move up in license, and don't really realize what they do, so we can, keep jumping out of planes and have self-regulation at airports.
well, I've had some experience with the FAA and other aspects of my life, and yeah, and they're no joke. They don't mess around. Like you don't you don't want them regulating skydiving any more than they need to, in
No,
my opinion.
no, it's gonna be. Yeah, they wanted to. Somebody proposed that thing, was it last year, about
Yeah.
you know maintenance requirements, and I'm not a I'm not an aircraft pilot, and I don't know a lot about planes. But all I know is that a lot of people were like, we don't want this."
Yeah, well, they would have changed. I don't remember exactly. I think it maybe would have changed it from Part 91 to a different part of the FAR, and it would have just made it unreasonable for drop zones to be able to maintain their aircraft. It would
Yeah,
have been more along the lines of like commercial aircraft maintenance. It just would have been completely unattainable financially.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of what all the people that I talked to at the USPA and DZOs would say is, you won't be able to afford to fly a plane, run a drop zone.
Yeah. So, what do you? You're gonna base jump this winter, apparently.
Probably.
Uh,
Well,
uh,
definitely going to Brazil, but we'll probably make a trip south. We went to Z Hills last year, so
well,
we're
what I was
interested.
gonna say, what do you suggest somebody who has 90 days before currency expires with a B license that lives in a place that you can't jump all year round? Like, what do you suggest? Just
Um,
find the closest drop zone that's open year round, or what?
Follow Skydive Orange. They jump year round.
They
It's
do.
cold.
That
I've
I
done
think
it.
that is the close one.
I've done it. It's cold.
I think Cross Keys is open most of the winter
Yeah,
too.
Kofke does it quite often too. Just depends on the snow. I think there. Orange is the
Yeah.
same way, but um, I jumped there in winter once. It was the Canadian invasion or something they called it, and it was real cold. Like it was cold enough that you had gloves on and your fingers were still numb before before you landed under canopy.
Is it just maybe think twice about it and just do a hop and pop just to stay current, just to say you did
Yeah,
it?
I mean, yeah. Once you get up to the C license and stuff like that, I think I'd have to look. But I know D license is 180 days, so then you can just kind of, if you wanted to just hang out at home all winter, you can.
Yeah, you could.
But
I'm not in that boat. I gotta jump every 90,
you know,
or just do a recurrency. But like I really I really just want to jump. Like I don't care if it's cold. I just want to jump.
dude, another thing you can do during the winter that I think a lot of people forget about is wind tunnels. You can increase your flying skills in the wind tunnel all year. You
I
know,
think the closest one to us is in Detroit, isn't it?
uh, from here it's either King of Prussia, which is out by Philly, or Loudoun County Parkway in right outside Ashburn, Virginia. It's about a 4.5 hour ride or so, 4 hour ride.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well, maybe from me, the one in Detroit is closer, because it's
how
about
far is it?
4 hours from me.
Yeah, so that's about the
It's
same
about
it
four
is
hours from me.
from. Yeah, it's about the same it is from here to Loudoun and King of Prussia.
Yeah. We have
It's
a
expensive, but it's
couple
worth it.
hours in between us, though.
It's worth it. It's worth it if you're a newer skydiver, or if you're a skydiver getting ready to go through AFF or currently going through AFF. You can take an AFF instructor with you to the tunnel, uh, and there's a lot of wind tunnel instructors now that are AFFIs that work in the wind tunnel as well, and it'll 15 minutes, 20 minutes is like night and day, especially when you're new.
So, all right, first inexperienced to experienced skydiver question. Does tunnel time count towards currency?
No,
No.
no.
All right. Okay.
USPA doesn't have anything to do with that.
All right.
Yeah, no. They now have a organization that you have to sign up for if you go to iFly. It's the IBA or something, or IBFA or something like that, International Body Flight Association or something. Uh, that you have to stay current with it too as a tunnel
Oh,
diver.
really?
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. It didn't used to be that way. Um,
Everybody wants to regulate everything, man. Like,
well, I don't know. It's not for me to say. I have no idea. But they give you progression in the wind tunnel too. You have to start off on your belly and be proficient on your belly, and then be able to formation fly with your instructor, and uh, do so many advancement criteria. Then they'll sign you off on that, and then it's back flying. You got to do so much stuff with backfly, and farthest I ever got in the tunnel was sit flying, and then I was, started skydiving so much that I never really. I mean, I've done a ton of time since then, but what I really wish we had is a wingsuit tunnel.
Those exist?
Yeah, there was rumor of.
They're going to build one in Pittsburgh.
Well, that was just a regular, like iFly.
iFly. Okay.
Yeah. So the closest wingsuit tunnel is Sweden. I think it's Sweden. Up above
All right.
Switzerland. Yeah. But there was rumors they were going to build one of those in Florida. So I don't know how true that is, or if it's still going to happen. But man, I wish they would.
Is that just a really large diameter tunnel, or does it
No,
go horizontally? Like, how does it work? Like, what is
it's
it?
like it's kind of angled like this, right? And the wind comes this way.
Oh, okay. So sort of like,
There's like a soft ramp like this, and you start
yeah, I
off
gotcha.
you start off by standing up, and then
Yeah.
slowly, into the flying position. And if you're new, they hook you up. They have like 4 or 6 attachment points to their training suits to make sure you don't fly into the walls and shit until you're able to get steady. And if you look it up, it's pretty cool. I wish they had one over here.
So it's sort of like one of those, like if you go to a water park and they have like those,
The
like
surfing.
like surfing things or like like boogie boarding things. It's like
Yeah.
that, but with air.
Yep. Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I got you. I got you.
Basically, yeah. Same thing as a wind tunnel, except just for a wingsuit.
Yeah. Right
You
on.
know?
That's cool.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Hopefully they build the wind tunnel in Bridgeville. That was the rumor, but obviously that's not happening because it was supposed to be due to open 2024 per rumors.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like that's happening.
Yeah.
All right. So we're getting pretty close to our hour here. Let's give some listeners an idea of what we kind of have thought for the future here. So, Bridge Day is coming up.
Yep.
Future
Yep.
episodes is what I'm talking about. So,
Yep. So I'll be going to Bridge Day. Um, so I'll
I
have
will be there next year.
yeah. So we'll
I'll
have
be there next year.
some footage and some stuff from that, and maybe some carnage to share.
Hopefully not Carnage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's carnage every year. Not
Well,
necessarily,
just hopefully not your
somebody
Carnage.
passing, but people going through other people's canopies and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
All right.
they don't think through before they go. They just huck it. So yeah, we'll do Bridge Day. Obviously, I'm sure we'll talk about the elections. Um, I have some other stuff written down here. Let's see.
Well, the documentary Fly came out
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Like that would be interesting to talk about and
Yeah.
just I guess like base jumping culture, I guess, and like how just sort of touch on some of the stuff that they touched on in the documentary.
Yep. Yep. Um, yep. Scotty Bob is in that. That's who I'm going to Brazil with. I actually flew on a formation wingsuit formation skydive record for Virginia, but I didn't get credit for it. It's a long story. Maybe we'll tell it some other time. But Scotty Bob was on it. A bunch of other people, Chris Mort, some other people that are really decent. Obviously, Scotty's a really good wingsuit pilot.
Yeah.
I look up to him a lot, so I was looking forward to that documentary. But yeah, we talk about that, and then just talk about how people can and usually do get into the sport and the progression. Gear selection, gear choice. Maybe before the end of next year, I'll have my rigger's ticket, so we can talk more rigging.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's something I want to do too. Like I hate the wait. Like I want to just be able to take care of my own stuff. You know what I mean? I want to know that my stuff is good. I want to be the one that looks at it. I want to know what I'm looking at. If something needs fixed, I want to be able to fix it. I plus
Yeah.
I'm jumping like 20-year-old gear. Like my gear is old.
Yeah, but
So
it's good. I mean, it's
yeah,
still
it's
still good.
yeah, it's
Well
fine. But
maintained.
just being new and unknowledgeable in the sport, and in a sport where your gear is so important. Uh, I'd just I'd like to be able to look at it more closely and say, is this okay or not?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff that you can quote unquote maintenance. Like gear maintenance that you can do yourself is not a rigger, right? You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
cut away and clean your cutaway cables and undo the three rings and inspect that, make sure that stuff's good. Hang up and inspect your canopy yourself. Inspect your lines, connection points. Top skin, bottom skin. Look at all that stuff yourself. The only thing you can't do is modify it or repair it. Really, I mean,
right.
any of the regular maintenance, like you know, cleaning your three rings and cleaning your cutaway handles and stuff, you can do all that. Obviously, you can't pack your reserve. So, but
It'd be really nice if I could.
yeah, you learn how to base pack. It's almost the same thing.
It's flat packing, right? Essentially.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, sure. A lot of people. I don't know what the steps are for a reserve repack, but all I've ever heard is if you can pack a base rig, you can learn how to pack a reserve, repack a reserve pretty easily. So
All right.
a little different. There's a free bag, obviously, and a spring-loaded pilot chute and all
Right.
that good stuff. But just like anything else, essentially, you do it enough times. But I mean, you could even start now. If you gotta find a rigger that's willing to teach you how to do it, then one of the prerequisites to take any rigging course for the test is 20 reserve repacks supervised by a master rigger.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't happen to have any that are within a reasonable driving distance at the moment. So,
hey, Google, man, USPA. They got search function for people to look for.
well, maybe
Search
there are some
standard
closer that I'm
riggers,
not aware of.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
All right,
so
man. Well, I
yeah,
I think I think this is a good first episode. What do you
not
think?
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't
It
think
could have
there's
been
any.
worse.
Yeah, there's not a lot of awkward silence.
Actually, I don't think there was. I don't
No.
really think there was all that much at all. That was like my biggest fear, awkward
Yeah,
silence.
dude,
I
it's
think we did all right.
yeah. That's why I want to do it. Right. I like doing stuff that's out of my comfort zone. Right.
This is
Podcast.
out of your comfort zone?
Oh yeah, totally, man.
For real? All right.
I'm definitely an introverted extrovert. I think is what a lot of people call it. You
All
know,
right. I could see
a lot
that.
of times I'd rather just chill by myself, but when I'm around other people, it's just comes
You
out. I
you
force it.
you get all sorts of confident and start drawing
Yeah, I
dicks
just
and
I kind of
logbooks.
just force it. I've learned to force it. When I was younger, I kind of just kept to myself. But yeah, it's a lot easier than I thought.
All right. Well, good deal, man. So
Cool.
I guess we should say, I guess by the time this
Anything?
actually comes out, people will be able to find us. We're on X at Beer Podcast 24,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. Beer
We're
podcast
on
24.
Instagram at Beer Podcast 24.
Yep.
Currently, those are the only things that we have set up, I think, but we'll also
Yeah, we're
have
working on
like a
Facebook.
Facebook page and,
Yeah,
uh, is there something else?
I think so.
Like we don't need to get into like
No,
TikTok and all that
we'll get
shit,
into
do we?
all
We're
that.
too old for that shit, right?
No, I don't need to. No, I
I
don't
don't
use
want to do that.
TikTok much myself either.
Okay, I don't want to do that either. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, follow us on the social media crap. It'll be all Beer Podcast 24 because that's what was available.
Yeah.
So
You gotta have a number.
gotta
It
have a
was
number.
2024, so that's what we got. It was
All
24.
right. Well,
So,
good deal, man.
all
And
right,
I guess
blue
we'll do
sky.
another one next week.
Yeah, For sure.
All right.
Do it.
All right.
See ya.
Later, bro.